Okay boys and girls, this lesson introduces you to a clay project and you're going to create your very own Cubist style Picasso portrait. And here's one that I have finished already with its string ready to hang up for a decoration. So I'm going to put him to the side. Everybody's going to receive some of this brown paper to work on. Don't work on the surface of the desk because the clay sticks to it. You're going to get a ball of clay and a rolling pin, and you're going to roller out your clay. So it's about 1/4 inch thick. Turn it round, flip it over. Okay, just like you're baking. Spread it out, and you're going to take a clay tool and you're going to cut the shape. It can be an irregular shape, a geometric shape, shape of a face. So you're going to carve in. I'm going to make mine geometric-ish and bring it around like that. So that's the shape of my head. I'm going to pull the remnants away. Next thing, now that I've got that shape, with a water pot, just going to get my finger and I'm going to smooth around the edges that I've just cut around. I don't want any jagged edges because when I do fire it in the kiln, those jagged edges are going to be very sharp. I don't want that to happen. Now, next thing, you can leave your surface plain or you can add texture. How we add texture is by taking one of these rollers. They've got different designs on them. See which one that you like, or you can use two. And just lightly press into the surface of the clay and you get a texture. And this one's creating a wavy line. I'm just going to do this one. This is a very organic shape. And if I just pull it out for you to see, boys and girls, you can see the texture on the surface. So this is wonderful. So we're using form, line, texture. Next thing, I've got my remnants still, and I want to add some facial features now. Every table will have a small pot of slip. This is really gooey clay that we use like glue. And we also need to remember we do scratch and attach as well. Anything that you put onto clay, so joining clay to clay, you need to scratch and attach and add slip as well if you need to. I'm going to roller out a worm. This is just my example. You can create your own. I'm going to give you handouts of Picasso portraits so you can see how he's placed the facial features. Sometimes they're not where they should be. The eyes are turned sideways. There's a portrait showing a profile going one direction on top of another profile going in another direction, so it's quite confusing, but this is all to do with cubism, looking at it in different ways. I've done that. I'm going to just snip that off and snip that off there. So what I've created there is a line that comes down as the shape of a nose. Anything that I've attached now, I have to scratch and attach. So with my tool, I'm just pushing down on the edges so that it does stick to the surface of the other clay. If I don't do this, what will happen is when it starts to air dry, which will sit for about 5 to 10 days, this little worm will just dry and snap off. I don't want that to happen. I want to make sure that it's definitely glued on. So I can use slip and I can do scratch and attach. I'm going to use my finger here, but I'll also give you a Q-tip so that anything you've scratched and attached, to get rid of that jaggy effect, just use the water and smooth it down. Q-tip's going to be a lot easier for you guys to get in around that area. So there I am. I've got my nose. You can see. Still got my remnants. And I can press it down, or I can roller it. And I want to shape out eyes. They can be semicircles, they can be real looking eyes, they can be round, they could be triangles. I'm going to add some slip, take a bit of that gooey slip. I'm just going to rub it on like it's bread and butter, smooth it on. I'm going to have an eye going like that, going downwards. I'll take another piece of clay and carve out another eye. I'm going to do a triangular shape and take my slip. This is fun. I mean, you just make up the shapes as you go along. Some of the Cubist style is very angular. And I've got another eye there. You can make a mouth. Again, it doesn't have to be a realistic looking mouth. Put it there. I'm going to just open it up there like that. And I'm going to make sure I've added slip, and I'm also going to make sure that I scratch and attach. When I've got everything that I want on it, I'm just going to put him to the side, and I've carved in, so you can see I've used a clay tool and I've gone in and I've added some detail and dots. When I've done that, this is called green ware. Then I'm ready to leave that to air dry. The final thing that you need to do is that to make sure that it hangs up, get a straw, poke it in, not too high up, but just about there. Poke a hole in so it's ready when it's fired that you can hang it. Also, flip it over, make sure very carefully with a clay tool or even the pencil point, just carve your initials. I've done mine upside down, but you can see there, into the back so you've got ownership of it. When it's fired, it will come out like this. It's changed colour, it's bisque. Okay, now it's ready, once it's been fired, for glaze. When you glaze, you don't put glaze on the back, you put glaze on the surface and try and avoid the very edges. When you've glazed it, and you can use all sorts of colours that we have available, and you can see what I've done, I've put all my colours, then we're going to give it a top coat of a clear glaze. When we put the clear glaze on, it's always a pinky colour, but when it's fired, it goes completely clear and it's like glass. After that, once it's out of the kiln, you can then pick a coloured piece of string, whatever choice that you like, hang it up, and there it is, you're finished. Your very own Picasso portrait. Now it's your turn, boys and girls. Let's go make some art.